and welcome to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life. My name is Kyle Case, and I'll be your host on this amazing journey as we attempt to help you get the most out of your life. Joining me in the studio today is my co-pilot, Jeff Harding. Jeff, how are you doing?
I'm well, Kyle. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Great day today.
It is. It's a little overcast here, but otherwise it's been a great day.
Yeah.
Temperatures are warm and
lots of stuff to do and lots of things that got done. And it's
That's right.
just an overall great day. Speaking of today, as we just were.
Yes, we were.
Today is April 7th. It's World Health Day.
Yes, it is that
too. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah, because you told me.
Yes, I did. But somebody in our office told us, so we can't take credit.
So we had a heads up. But, you know, the mission of the Games, the Huntsman World Senior Games, is to foster worldwide peace, health, and friendship. So any day that the whole world celebrates as a health day ought to be important to us.
They're celebrating us, actually.
Yeah, something that we ought to be at least aware of and maybe just celebrate right along with them.
And there's probably a World Peace Day and a World Friendship Day as well.
I'll bet there is.
It's just too bad they're not all together.
We need to Google that so that we can figure out when those days are.
Yes, we do.
But since 1950, World Health Day has had a theme associated with it.
Each year is a different theme?
Each year is a different theme.
Okay.
Do you know what this year's theme is?
I have no idea.
Just take a guess.
Healthy in 2016.
That's good. That's good, but that's not right. And no, you weren't even close. Here's the theme. All right?
I'm ready.
This is a good one. Diabetes. Scale up prevention, strengthen care, and enhance surveillance.
You know, that's going to catch on. That is going to be on everybody's tongue.
I thought, wow, the focus group that came up with this theme was like spot on.
It was probably like a federal government committee.
It probably was. And they kind of just built it like a Giraffalopolis or something like that.
Merrill from our office would have come up with that theme.
That is exactly right. He would have nailed that one. But,
he would have.
I mean, aside from, you know, the way that it rolls off of your tongue.
Right. It's a good thing. I mean, it's a good concept.
It's something that we ought to be aware of. Diabetes is obviously an issue that is affecting more and more people.
Mm-hmm.
And so in honor of this year's World Health Day theme, I thought we'd talk about several ways that we could all, things that we can implement that we can avoid type 2 diabetes, which is the preventable one.
Right.
Type 1 diabetes is
inherited.
Generally juvenile onset.
Yep.
But type 2 is the one where, you know, we can do something about that. So a few things that we can do. Number one, we can control our portion size.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be a guilt session.
I know. I'm sorry.
Well,
all of them will be a guilt session.
I do control my portion size. It's just probably bigger than they want me to have.
Yeah, but you have complete control over it.
Yes, I scoop it up myself.
So obviously the portion size is the amount of food that we eat. And if we're trying to eat smaller portions, which they're recommending, when they say control your portion size, they're not saying make it bigger. Well, they're saying make it smaller.
Darn! See here, I thought I was compliant. Well, what we do at our house is we just use the 8-inch plates instead of the 12-inch plates.
And so that's one of the things.
You can't put as much food on an 8-inch plate. I've tried.
That's actually one of the tips that they recommend. But they're saying if you're going to eat a bagel, eat a half a bagel instead of a full bagel. Have a quarter pounder instead of a 5-patty burger at In-N-Out like my son likes to have. 3 ounces of hamburger, incidentally, or meat is about the size of your hand or a deck of cards, and that's a serving size. And we think that like a 16-ounce steak is a serving size, but
well, it is.
Yeah,
at certain restaurants, at the good restaurants.
A couple of other ideas: maybe share one dessert instead of eating it all by yourself.
No, we do that.
But
that's more because we're cheap than we're trying to be healthy.
Well, but it works. It works. And then, like you said, use a smaller plate. That's a good one. They recommend they eat a little bit slower.
Mm-hmm.
It takes about 20 minutes for your stomach to tell your brain that you're full. So if you keep eating during those 20 minutes as fast as you can, obviously your calories go up.
Well, yeah, and you can get more. You can actually get more. You can add seconds, maybe thirds, if you work at it.
I think we're maybe misunderstanding each other here, Jeff.
Okay.
A couple of other things that we can do. We talk about this a lot on the show, but we can move more.
Right.
Just move more. Our lives are so sedentary. We spend so much time sitting down, whether it's at work or at home in front of the TV. So to be more active, a few things that we need to do. We need to be active for at least 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Walking is a great way to get started on that. We can do that almost anywhere at any time. They recommend bike riding, swimming, even dancing are ways that we can move.
Which is also very fun.
Yeah, a few ideas. You can show your kids the dance moves that you used to do when you were their age.
I don't think my body can still do that.
So you were like breaking and popping and locking.
Well,
and
that still is after my generation.
That was a little bit more my generation.
But I used to really get into it. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I've seen you dance, and you're actually a great dancer. And I've seen you dance with your kids as well,
yes. Kids
and your grandkids. So that's awesome. A couple of other really quick things: deliver a message in person to a coworker instead of sending an email, or like we do in our office, just yelling really loud. That tends to happen quite a bit.
That exercises your vocal cords, though.
It does.
There is some exercise.
The other thing we can do, one other thing. There's many things we can do, but take the stairs instead of an elevator.
Right.
So a few
Great
things.
tips.
Make healthy food choices. Just really quickly, we have to make a conscious effort,
right?
Because if we just eat by default, we're generally not getting those healthy foods. So make a conscious effort to eat more vegetables, fruits, whole grains. Cut back on high-fat foods like our favorites, the fried foods. That helps us reduce the amount of fat and calories that we take in each day. We can have vegetable salads. Those are low calorie, but they're also filling.
And they're very tasty.
Good. They taste good. Share your main dish with a friend, like you mentioned that you do sometimes. We do that in my family as well. Try a chicken sandwich instead of a hamburger. Just a way to cut back on the calories. Skip the fries. Choose a salad. That's a hard one. I really like the fries.
If you get the curly fries, is that better than getting the regular fries?
So. Yeah,
I think.
I think it's not, but maybe we'll go with it for this one. We'll give you that one.
All right.
And then, like I said, just be a conscientious eater.
Right.
Before you decide what you're going to do. And then also don't try to eat when you're bored or upset or unhappy. We tend to eat more during those times.
And I would add, watch the grazing.
Yes. Yeah, which is very easy to do because
it is.
Food is everywhere.
It is.
If you do all of those things, you'll lower your chances of receiving that gift of type 2 diabetes that many of us are dealing with.
Well, let's hope that we all take that advice to heart, because that's not something we want to be saddled with.
That is for sure. But things that are worth thinking about. Today, our guest is an expert in a few of the things that we talked about.
Yes, she is.
Mainly movement. So we're glad to welcome our guest, Tiffany Gust, back to the show. She's been a guest before, and welcome back, Tiffany.
Hey, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
We're so excited to have you back. Tiffany is a personal trainer. She's a fitness instructor, among many other things that she does. She specializes in helping people do their best in triathlons, and she's able to do that because she is really good at triathlons.
In fact, she just completed one in California this last weekend.
She did. She has done over 160 triathlons, including 16 Ironmans.
Why?
Now, is it Ironmans or Ironmen?
Ironman, no S.
But if you do 16 of them, what is it?
16 Ironman races.
Oh, so it's the S goes on to races.
I don't know.
Well, Tiffany,
we're
glad that you're here. I was just thinking on my drive over here, I was trying to think of something that I have done 160 of, and I couldn't come up with anything.
I've had more than 160 meals.
Okay, well, so yes, so there you go.
So I'm an overachiever there.
But I was just thinking of just things that you do, competitions or
no events,
events or whatever, and that's a lot. So
that's
congratulations.
Dedication.
What is the final number? You probably have that.
I don't know the number, but it's over 160.
It's a lot.
It's my therapy.
It must work.
It
must work. That's awesome.
She looks mentally sound, so I think it does work.
For sure. Well, we wanted to talk a little bit about cross training today. So give us a lowdown. What is cross training? How does it work? And what is it good for?
So cross training is anything that you're doing outside of your normal activity. Let's say you are a walker or a runner, cyclist, tennis, whatever it is that you're actually doing. If you're engaging in this activity, it's going to help you become more fit in the activity that you're already doing. So for those of you who are already off the couch and doing something, talking about our World Health Day, and doing those activities, it can help prevent injuries, and it can help prevent those injuries by overuse injuries. So we get those overuse injuries by doing the same thing over and over and over. And also we can use cross-training to rehab maybe the current injuries that we have or a re-injury that we may have. And that's a really great way to help prevent prevent injuries that may occur. So
or exacerbation of
absolutely,
the existing
absolutely.
Injury. Mm-hmm. So you said cross training is pretty much anything that's outside of your event or your sport. So in my mind, I kind of thought cross training was a specific class that you take at
That's CrossFit.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's CrossFit.
Okay, all right, different things.
Different. Yeah.
So are there specific things that are better for specific sports? So for example, let's just use tennis as an example. If I play tennis, and I want to get better at tennis, in my mind, I think, well, I got to practice tennis. I've got to be out there on the court. I've got to practice my swing, practice my backhand. I got to do all that stuff. You're saying that it's better to maybe not focus solely on that, but to also do other things. What types of things would you do if you were a tennis player and you wanted to get better at tennis?
Absolutely. So we have the principle of specificity, which is a tennis player should go out and play tennis to become better. So that is a principle we want to follow. So I'm not telling you
So you're not saying stop practicing
I'm not going to say go swim and become a better tennis player. So we do want to practice the sport that we're doing. When it comes to that, we also want to do some resistance training and strengthen the muscles, and then maybe do some plyometrics or some exercises that are going to help us become faster at doing those types of moves. So sport-specific moves are great. And then just on maybe an active recovery day, do something else. Find something else that you would like to do as active recovery just to give your body a little bit of a rest, and maybe it might spark your interest in a different sport as well.
Now, does that mean that we want to actually do something that are using different muscle groups, or is it okay to use the same muscle groups but in a different way?
Both.
Okay.
Absolutely. Great question. That's a great question. So we would definitely want to do something that will use the other muscle groups, because we want to have balance within our body, so we don't get that muscle imbalance, which actually can cause or lead into injuries. We want to make sure that we're using the muscles in a sport-specific way, but then also challenging those other muscles. So
I want to talk about a couple of things that you mentioned. The first one being strength training. We've learned so much about strength training and how important it is across the board for all athletes, regardless of their sport. And that's really kind of a new-ish phenomenon. I mean, there was a time when golfers didn't lift weights and tennis players didn't lift weights. They just didn't do that. They just did their sport, and maybe they did some cardio. But we found recently how important strength training can be for an athlete, and also just for anybody. I mean, resistance training is important for everybody. Let's say that I don't have a gym membership, but I keep hearing that strength training is important. What do I do? Do I need to get a gym membership?
No, you don't.
Do
Absolutely. There's things you can do at home. We call them body weight only exercises. Those would be push-ups, sit-ups, squats, lunges, wall sits. Those are all things that you're using your own body weight to help increase your strength. And like you said, strength training is so important. It can help combat osteoporosis, the thinning of the bones. They've done a lot of studies for depression and anxiety and blood pressure, and it can help lower those things. So there's diabetes. You just talked about diabetes earlier. So strength training, there's a lot of ways that strength training can help you as an athlete or as just anyone. Just
anybody who's trying to get active.
Anyone that's trying to get fit.
Enjoy
Absolutely.
the active life, so to speak.
Yes.
So how much, how often? I know these are broad guidelines, but what would you recommend if somebody was just trying to get into it?
So the American Council on Exercise, their guidelines are 2 to 3 times a week. 2 is great, 3 is even better. And just doing something where you can strengthen each part of your muscle, each part of your body. So we want to make sure we're working the 9 major muscle groups and not just focusing on one muscle group or another. You've seen those people that walk out of the gym.
What if I just want my biceps to be really big?
Absolutely. You can do that, but you may eventually cause muscle imbalance and increase your chance for injury by working just one major muscle group. Yeah. So getting the body to work in a functional way to be able to help you do functional everyday activities. Climbing up and down the stairs, getting up and down off the floor as we age, those are things that we might be concerned with.
So that was actually the second thing I wanted to talk to you about, is this concept of functional strength. When I was in high school and I was an athlete, we basically did 4 lifts. You did a deadlift, you did a squat, you did a bench press, and maybe did some curls. And those were the weights that you did, and they were very structured, and those were the things that you did. And now, the approach is different, even for athletes. My son is a high school athlete, and they hardly ever do those core lifts were my basic lifts. They're doing a lot of other stuff. How important is that?
It's very important. As our body is designed, it's designed to move, and it's designed to be in motion and do those functional things. Let me just give you a burpee, for example. Do you know what a burpee is?
I do, unfortunately.
Okay, yeah.
I'm familiar with them.
If I told you we were going to go out and do 400 burpees right now, or 5 burpees or whatever, you probably would say, nah, I'm really not game for that. But if I told you that I was going to teach you how to get up and down off the floor and play with your kids or your grandkids or whatever as you age, and help you help you do functional things, would you come with me and learn how to do those burpees?
Sure. It's all in the way that it's presented.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's value in me telling you what it's going to do and help you in a functional way. And I think that's really what's important. Same thing with lunges. You know, if we're going to go to a football game and we go to the top of the stadium, if I told you that I was going to help you combat stairs or climbing, then you might be, hiking.
More interested.
Yeah, absolutely. More interested. And those are all functional things.
Just says, go do 20 lunges or 15 or
exactly.
3.
It feels more like a punishment when they tell you that way.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
15 lunges. Now, private.
That sounds very familiar. You're listening to the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life, and we're visiting with our guest, Tiffany Gust, who is a personal trainer, and we're talking about functional strength. So I like this concept. But it's kind of a new concept to me. I'm still a little bit old school. if I go to the gym, I still want to gravitate to the bench, or to the squat rack. But I like this concept. My brother talks to a lot about functional strength, and he's got all kinds of apparatus that are just household items, but that he uses. Milk cartons for curls, and
absolutely,
he's got this kind of home gym that he does. But it's all about functional strength. I like the concept. Like you said, when you're living life, you're not moving in a very rigid, structured format. You're moving with life, and climbing the stairs is not, that's not a squat. That's not a bench press.
Right.
So I like that concept. So 3 exercises that are functional strength exercises that you would recommend that somebody who really hasn't been doing anything could step right in and start doing.
I would say maybe a wall sit would be great. So it's an isometric move where you're sitting against the wall. Your knees and your hips are at a 90-degree angle there, just holding that isometric. As you start, you're going to feel those legs. Back is straight, knees are right over your ankles. You're going to feel those legs shake, and you're really going to feel the legs, feeling the burn. Feel the burn, baby. But as you progress, you're going to feel the increase in that, and you're going to feel that leg strength increase. And like you said, you can do that without a gym.
And you shouldn't feel discouraged if it's hard at first.
Absolutely. Start where you are.
Yeah, it's hard. Wall sits are hard for anybody.
They are hard. And then planks are fantastic. I love planks.
Okay, so describe a plank.
Plank would be coming down on your elbows. Your elbows are right directly below your shoulders. Your body's in a nice straight line. Core's pulled in nice and tight. Belly button's pulled to your spine. So you've got all those muscles just contracted. You're on your toes. Now you can modify this move by getting onto your knees, dropping down to your knees, and holding that. You're really getting a nice, good total body strengthener there. And your core is your powerhouse. It is what helps you move in and up out of a chair. It helps you move in every single way that you're moving through space. And so that's another one that I would absolutely recommend.
No, is it okay if my belly button just waves at my spine, because it ain't getting very close?
It'll get closer and closer as we watch those portions, right?
Okay. Yeah,
if you're watching them the right way.
Yeah. As I correctly portion my meals, yes.
That's right. Okay, so wall sits and planks, things that anybody could do at home. You don't need apparatus.
Absolutely.
You don't need equipment. You don't need anything. You don't need special clothes. Just do them. What's
just
the
get
third
out
one?
and do it. The next one I would say, this one's kind of a fun one. It's just the bear crawl. Okay. You know what the bear crawl is.
I know what the bear crawl is.
Just get down on the floor and start crawling, and that is going to help. It's going to build every muscle in your body. Same thing with the mountain climbers, which is a very similar to the bear crawl. You're just kind of pulling those legs in. But
so is it just hands and knees?
The bear crawl is your walking hands and knees. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely.
No, you're not. Well, I guess it depends on your level, but you could go on your knees.
You could go on your knees.
But you could go just
Absolutely.
feet and hands,
Okay,
right?
we used to call that more like a crab crawl or something.
Yes.
But
Yes.
back in the olden days.
Yeah.
Well, and the great thing is there's lots of ways to modify these moves. They don't have to look the same for all three of us. If we were all to go outside right now and do some, boot camp or whatever, you can modify it at any level and still feel successful and still get a good workout.
Still get a good workout.
Absolutely.
Which is the point, right?
Absolutely.
Most important part.
Yep.
Awesome. Great stuff. Great advice. I want to talk a little bit about your triathlons, because triathletes are some of the best athletes. I'm a little biased to wrestling. I think wrestlers are probably the best athletes, but triathletes are right up there. And it's amazing to me that you've done over 160 of these things. And so tell us, first of all, for those who are not familiar with the sport, many of us know, but people who don't know what it is, what is a triathlon, and why would somebody want to do that?
So a triathlon
question,
starts with a swim, and depending on the distance, there's several different distances you can do. Then you go to the bike, and then you finish up with a run. So this weekend I did the half Ironman in Oceanside, California, which is a 1.2 mile swim, 56-mile bike ride, and then you finish off with a half marathon, which is a 13.1-mile run.
Okay, so before you jump off of that, I just love to reiterate these numbers because, like, 1.5 mile swim is a long ways. If you're swimming in a 25-meter pool, which many of us would swim laps, do you know how many laps that is?
My watch usually counts for me, but it is, I want to say 40,
it's a
60,
lot.
something
yeah,
like that. I can't do the math really quick.
I know that it's in the 50-ish.
Yeah, I just swim and swim and swim. Yeah.
Which is a lot of laps. So that's the first thing. And then once you're done with that, which would be more than enough for most of us.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Then you're going to jump on a bike and you're going to ride it for 56 miles.
You got it.
Now, for just a local point of reference, that's from St. George beyond Cedar City.
Right.
Correct.
I mean, that's a long ways to ride a bike.
Right.
And then on top of that, you're going to run. And you run for how long?
It's 13.1 miles.
13.1 miles.
Half marathon.
Which is amazing. And that's a half Ironman. And you've done 16 full Ironman races. Because they're not Ironmans and they're not Ironman. They're Ironman races.
They're Ironman races.
Well, that's amazing. So why would somebody want to be a triathlete? Why would somebody want to get into the sport?
You know, there's a lot of different reasons. A lot of people just need it to manage their weight. Some are doing it because they just need a way to relieve stress. That's actually why I got into it. We were in the middle of adopting my daughter from Ethiopia, and I just needed a way to relieve the stress. So that's when I got into it back in 2003. So everyone has a reason. Everyone has a journey.
That's just been in 16 years, 13 years that she's done that many.
I know. So 2003 is when you started.
I know. I'm addicted.
Well, I'm sorry, but it sounds like it. There might be a problem here.
Yeah.
Do we need to have an intervention?
My name is Tiffany Gust, and I'm addicted to triathlons.
I'm addicted to triathlons.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
If you were to give any advice to somebody who's just on the fence about whether they want to compete in an event, maybe it's the Huntsman World Senior Games. Hopefully it's the Huntsman World Senior Games. Maybe it's something else. What advice would you give them?
I would give them, first of all, I would tell them to go and watch the Senior Games. It is amazing, and that's how you can become inspired, is by watching those people. You're going to see someone out there that you didn't think could do what they're doing, and you're going to say, if they can do it, I can do it. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going to inspire you. That's how it starts. And just that little desire, and just write it down as your bucket list and chase your dreams. Go for it.
Get to work, right?
Yep.
Great advice. I love that you said that. A lot of times people answer that question with just do it, and that is so true. But you need a motivator. You need a little inspiration. And I've seen very few things that are more inspirational and motivational than watching the athletes of the Huntsman World Senior Games. It really, really is amazing. And just like what you said, you would come and you would look out on whatever playing field it is, softball, basketball, volleyball, tennis, pickleball, whatever it is, and you'll see somebody that you think, oh, this is just old folks' games. But then all of a sudden you see them compete, and it becomes a whole other
inspirational
thing.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Tiffany, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
You've shared some important things with us that hopefully we can put into practice, like bear crawls.
You got it.
My grandkids are always climbing on my back saying, horsey ride. So
do it.
Yeah, so there you go.
I do it.
There you go.
Awesome, Jeff.
Awesome. Well, just to wrap up with a couple of things here, Jeff, we've been talking for several weeks now, but registration is open. It opened on the 1st of March.
Yes,
so
it is.
We're well into it. Man, we've got several sports that are already closed.
And some that are getting close.
We have participation caps because of the amount of space that we have for a certain number of sports, our venues. And because of the venue space, we've capped a number of our sports. Pickleball is closed. Softball and volleyball have age divisions that are closed. Bowling was closed today. Today was the day that bowling closed, and several other sports are well on their way. So now is the time to register. We've registered over 2,200 total athletes in all of our sports. And you think, well, it's a long ways away, but don't wait. Don't hesitate. Now is the time.
If you want to play.
We also are celebrating our 30th anniversary.
Really?
We've been talking about that for quite a while now.
Haven't we?
And we've set a few goals so that we can really, truly celebrate our 30th anniversary.
We need our listeners' help to reach these goals.
We do. One of the goals that we set this year is that we want to host 30 different countries at the Games. In the 29 years that we've hosted the Huntsman World Senior Games, we have had 73 different countries represented, which is amazing.
At least once, yeah.
But in this year, we want to host 30 different individual countries.
All the same year.
And if you know somebody who lives in Greenland specifically, invite them.
We want them.
But we want people from all over the world to come and enjoy
Right.
these games, and we know that people have and that they do. And if you'd like to help us officially, you can become an ambassador
Right.
by visiting our website, seniorgames.net/ambassador. And you can request a free ambassador kit to help us spread the word about the Huntsman World Senior Games.
Mm-hmm.
The games this year take place on October 3rd through the 15th. And come and be a part of it.
Yeah, we want you.
Like Tiffany said, just find that inspiration, get motivated, pick a sport. We've got 30 different sports to choose from and be a part of it.
28 now, but...
Yeah. Tune in next Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Time on AM 1450 or FM 93.1 for the Huntsman World Senior Games Active Life. You can listen to this and any other episode right from our website. Our inspirational thought for the day is don't stop when you're tired, stop when you're finished. Until next Thursday, stay active.
Bye, everyone.